In the throes of labor, I lay on the bed at the safe house, clutching Grant's hand tightly. His presence offered me endless comfort and support. Yet I was aware of the immense danger we faced. O could find us at any moment. Amidst this tension, I focused on the birthing process. Each cry from the baby felt like a declaration of our victory. But I also knew this was just the beginning of our battle with S.E.R.O. Chapter 41. As I reluctantly said my farewells to everyone, I found myself in the passenger seat beside Raina, my aunt and unexpected companion on this journey. The figures waving goodbye in the rearview mirror gradually faded from sight, leaving me with an unsettling uncertainty about when I'd see them again. Raina's voice broke through my melancholy thoughts. My aunt and uncle are excited to meet you. They'll be waiting for us at the airport when we arrive. Despite her attempt at positivity, I could hear the conflict in her tone, mirroring Grant's earlier efforts. All I could muster was a tight smile in response. The first time my brother sent me to England, I vowed never to forgive him again. Raina shared, her resilience momentarily wavering. I raised an eyebrow, realizing how little I understood about the complicated history between her and Grant. Although you looked for him for quite some time, I pointed out. My natural curiosity piqued when Raina shot me a annoyed look before refocusing on the road. Yes, I did. Yes, my brother. And even though I hate him for what he did, I still love him. What did happen? I asked, my empathetic nature compelling me to understand their family's past. Raina sighed deeply. I guess he could never tell anyone. Noting my quizzical expression, she elaborated on their traumatic history. My parents were scared to stay in England since so much of our pack had been hunted. We moved to America while our other pack members scattered across Europe. As Raina navigated a turn on the highway, she continued her tale. Moving here was good for us for over a decade. We were happy, but it didn't last. We were found out, and it was my brother's idea to send me back to England to be safe. From what I've pieced together, Grant found a pack that promised to hide them from the hunters. Instead, they betrayed him and my parents, not wanting us as competition for power anymore. My heart sank as I processed this revelation. It explained Grant's deep-seated distrust and why my deception had wounded him so profoundly. The last time someone had betrayed his trust, it had cost him his parents' lives. I don't know how Grant escaped, Raina admitted, her voice tamed with lingering pain. He never talks about it. That's his way of coping. I wish I had stayed in America. I wish I could have at least tried to save my parents. I remained silent, offering only a sad smile in response. As an observant individual, I recognized the weight of her words and the shared feeling of longing to change the past. I'm sorry that I'm the reason you have to leave, I say, and she shakes her head with a chuckle. I always managed to find Grant again, she says, but I shake my head. I was talking about Abby. I whisper and Raina's face drops. I didn't know any details about how long they were seeing each other, but from that look it meant a lot. Yeah, well, it probably wouldn't have worked out anyways. Raina brushes it off. Not fooling me though. I mean, my brother butts heads with Abby more times than I care to count per day. I want to reply to that, but I should stop seeing hope in things when it clearly is hurting Raina. For the rest of the way to the airport the talking is light, and Raina tells me about England. But all the time she is explaining the beautiful countryside. I'm stuck looking in the review mirror, watching my world change. It was late afternoon when we arrived at JFK International Airport. The sun was beginning to set and I was exhausted. Another thing to look forward to when getting to England is jet lag. Somehow we got through security with some pretty last-minute passport and our light luggage. Although while I find myself trembling, scared about what is to happen next. Jeff and I had a quick talk about my step-mom, and to still keep things hidden. As for Jordan, I only hope that Grant's plan to take down S.E.R.O works to set my brother free. Right now with Raina we are sitting down at a coffee shop with some water and a few sandwiches. I was really hungry. Flight 737 to London has been delayed for 1 hour. Sorry for the inconvenience. More information will be given shortly. Thank you. The woman's voice over the intercom stops, and by the way, Raina gets agitated. Flight 737 to London must be our flight. I'll just go see what's happening. I won't be long. Raina says, and I give her a nod as she gets up from her seat and heads around the corner to the terminal. I wait. Unease sitting in my stomach as time passes. My gut instinct knows something is wrong, but I force myself to just say I'm paranoid from all that's happened today. I'm already missing everything about America, and I haven't even left. Talk about homesick. I'm drawn out of my thoughts when the metal chair scrapes back. Expecting it to be Raina, I smile, about to ask what's happening, but choke out a gasp when I see who it really is. Looking lovely as ever, Miss Rhodes, Mr. McCoy smiles with an ease that has me shocked into my seat. He casually sits down, surveying the area before returning his attention on me. How did you find me? I hiss, looking around for Raina. But I know if Mr. McCoy is here, he has brought back up. And it's no coincidence that our flight has been delayed. Don't think you're the first runaway to try and get away from us, he says with a playful tone as if he has won a game. We monitor the airport security because people think that running the furthest away is the best option. At least they're smart, trying to get away from you people the quickest, I say, and he chuckles, leaning in closer to where I sit. Just like you've tried. And now it's time to come back to where you belong, he says, an edge to his voice. Not long now till your friend gets back. I don't think you would like to discover what we do with people we can't capture. They kill them. That's all it takes for a rising panic to set and in my heart to beat faster. Again today I find myself in a helpless situation. I fight the growing unease and think of something to help Raina. Well, you're here for me. And do you think the public and security will take it lightly if I create a scene? I say back, and his paper-thin lips purse in annoyance. You take me unwillingly, you'll have a fight on your hands. Cause a drama. Might end up on the news. I know what game you're playing, Brooke, but remember, you make a little scene, your friend gets killed. Mr. McCoy pushes back and I nod my head, regretting my next words before I even say them. I know, but if I go with you willingly, you leave my friend alone. I propose, and he seems to consider the offer, his evil smile curly like Cheshire cat. Fine, he says, swiftly getting up from his chair and offering me a hand. Let's go. I push his hand away, and with shaky feet I get up. I don't protest as he roughly grabs my upper arm, guiding me out of the terminal. With my agent eye, I look back to spot others moving the same direction as us. Undercover security people with S.E.R.O getting up from their posts. We make it to the entrance. The sheer glass walls show the view outside of yellow taxis, and parked right out front a big black car, already running, ready to speed off with me. Brooke. I hear my name yelled from behind and turn my head to see a glimpse of Raina pushing through the crowd people to me. That makes Mr. McCoy grab me harder and run to the car. I get shoved into the back seat. The door slammed in my face and locked. I watch from the window Raina running to the car, knocking over a luggage trolley in the processes, and slamming my hands on the glass as she gets to my door, pulling on the handle. But I can't do anything as I hear a gunshot go off. Raina drops out of view, replaced with a splatter of red across my window. I scream, as well as all the public outside, not knowing what's going on. I slam harder on the glass of my car window. Raina, we drive away in a flash, as I still scream hysterically to get out, trying to unlock the door but get restrained back. All I see before we leave the car pickup area is Raina's limp body halfway off the curb. Chapter 40 to Hollow. I feel hollow, as if I decided to leave my body and drift off to a place right now. Afraid, pregnant, helpless, and alone. Brooke Rhodes. It was 3 hours ago we drove away from Raina's limp body, left on the curb. And it's hard to imagine that it was 2 days ago that I was safe in the middle of nowhere. Not in the city, surrounded by people I hate. I stay still and silent, calming myself because for some miracle today it has caused any trouble for my pregnancy. For my daughter. It was dark when I was forced to get out of the car, into the familiar dusty underground car park that is the head base for us. 8 months ago I was on my knees here for my brother's freedom. So much has changed since then. I was exhausted but managed to get up the many stairs and walk through concrete-walled hallways that all look the same. Mr. McCoy walked out front while a security guard, dressed in all black with a gun, holds my forearm. Who knows? He might have used to work with me in my old organization. We reach a door, painted red, which is odd for this place. Mr. McCoy turns to me, before dismissing the security guard beside me. Someone would like to have a word with you. He knocks, getting a muffled reply before opening the door and gesturing me in. I slowly walk through the door, Mr. McCoy following in behind me before closing it. What captures my attention instantly is the white plastered walls to the dusty concrete ones, the plush carpet compared to the hard gray floor. I continue walking forward until I reach the end and turn to the large dining room. It's filled with a long dark mahogany table that stretches across the room. Antique lights hang on the walls and ceiling. But what stops me is the man sitting on the end, a glass in one hand, the other holding a hardcover book. He seems to finish a line before snapping the book shut to look at us. And in my clouded memoirs, I remember that man's face from the first time I was in this very building. He watched me be escorted out of here after my failed attempt at rescuing my brother, tricked into helping them for his freedom. He smiles at me, his pale blue eyes crinkling in the corners. He's old, with slicked back gray hair. And when he stands up, he wears a lavish red robe that reaches his wool unpinched slippers. Well, you have done well, Andrew. He smiles behind me before returning his attention on me. And you, my dear, are glowing. I'm assuming the baby is growing healthily. This man reaches to touch my stomach, but I slap away his hand. For a second he seems angry but laughs it off. Chef feisty. No wonder it took so long to find her. He walks back around so he is on the other side of his expensive table facing us again. Thank you, Andrew. I'll send for you soon. Without a word, Mr. McCoy, or now Andrew, leaves me alone with this man that I don't wish to spend another minute with. Please have a seat. You must be exhausted, he says politely, but I make no move to do so. He sighs. I insist. Not having any other choice, I walk forward and pull out a chair and sit down at the table. It feels good to get some weight off my legs, although it's replaced by a new fear of this man who acts like he knows everything about me. My name is Mr. Emerson, the founder of S.E.R.O. I am guessing you remember my face from quite some months ago. He says and pauses as if for me to reply. When I don't say anything, he continues. You might be somewhat confused. I spit out. There is nothing confusing about taking people against their own will. He nervously chuckles. But you, my dear, are the person that ran away. We only wanted our investment back. I am not your property. I hiss, which seems to grate on the nerves of Mr. Emerson. He seems eerily calm as he comes to stand on the opposite side of the table, leaning over it to look at me. Let me get something clear. I do this for our benefit. To understand people like us better. He grits out. People like us. I will never be like you. We are very alike in a way that might surprise you, Brooke. He teases, walking back around the table to collect his drink. I know what it's exactly like to be called a halfling, as if it were the worst thing in the world. My eyes shoot straight to him, and seeing my shocked face, he laughs. Yes, half werewolf, half human, not werewolf. Not human. We are peculiar, aren't we? I feel sick all of a sudden. I have never met some like me before. And it turns out to be the man that started a brutal experimentation organization on the supernatural. How could you do such things to your own kind? I whisper weakly, completely out of my element now. Our kind. He spits. They are not like us. They mocked us for what we called and do. They treated us like outsiders because we were born with dormant genes. I have spent my life trying to figure them out, the workings of the supernatural, to see what is missing for us. I look down at the table, certain things starting to make sense of why a place like this would be created. By a jealous man who always wanted what he could never have. What do you want with me? I ask, slowly looking up from the table. When your brother joined us, I was intrigued to hear about his mystery of a sister. He says, turning away from me. And as I suspect, Imprisoning your brother here Calden stopped you from falling into our net, and it was easy getting you to go ahead with our little plan. We had no interest in money, only the shadow alpha that rarely shows his face. Grant, this story has made me more confused than ever, and I am beginning to feel like a chess piece in a much bigger game than I realized. As I suspected, he Calden resist a pretty face like you. A few spiked drinks from our bartender and you to Calden keep your hands at each other from what I hear. He snickers. I shake my head, as if what I am hearing is a lie. You plan this. It was a plan of theory, manipulation, and very good luck that landed me with you pregnant. The outcome that would have been icing on the cake that night. He explains, which is my heart trembling. You were a lucky find. And my theory was if someone like us got pregnant, would our dormant werewolf genres turn on? Would a woman be able to carry a werewolf child with the opposing blood types? I would have tried it myself, but for obvious reasons that Calden happen. He chuckles at his own joke as I sit here, questioning the way my life is right now. I have been used for some sick man's games. My daughter was created to see if he could find a way for us to be able to do the things a werewolf could. I feel sick. We'll see if the pregnancy has altered anything tomorrow. I think it's best for you to rest up. I barely comprehend his words as I feel a tap on my shoulder. I don't budge in my own sorrow, as I am grabbed from under the arm and yanked out of my seat. Someone guides me out of Mr. Emerson's place back into the corridors again. I don't even know where I am going, but I don't even know how to feel right now either. Finally, we stop at a metal door that screeches when opened. I am pushed inside and I turn and watch the door close in my face, blocking me in another room. Brooke. I hear a voice behind me and my eyes widen. Turning my head slowly, I see the familiar lanky arms and legs. His sandy disheveled hair and brown eyes like mine. My brother's face looks hollow from lack of nutrients, but he still looks the same. And in an instant I am breaking down crying, rushing up to him to give him a swift hit on the back of the head, like I wanted to before engulfing him in a hug. Chapter 43. Jordan's body goes stiffer than a plank of wood as I hugged him. I was still crying when he gently pushed me away at arm's length and looked down at the obvious. His mouth gaping open like a fish out of water, probably having no idea what to say. That's new. He expresses his thought, and calming myself down I even manage a chuckle. If he only knew. It's good to see you two. I croak with my post-crying voice. He shakes his head, hands sliding down his face in slight freaked-out mode as I recognize from when he did it when we were younger. Sorry, but I'm locked up for 8 months and my sister, who is no pregnant, comes to the last place she should be. What are you doing here? How I want to scream at that question, but all manages a sigh. I could write a book on how I came to be here, Jordan, and it starts with once upon a time I tried to save my brother's ass. Brooke, you tend to get sarcastic when you're angry, and I don't think raising your blood pressure is good for pregnant women. Jordan says, as flattered as I am that you care about the health of me and your niece. You're not getting out of this one so easily. I bark back. Well, I think not seeing the sun for over half a year is punishment enough, don't you? Jordan says, defeated as he turns away from me, going to sit on one of the beds in the plain jail-like room. Another mood swing must have hit me as I feel bad all of a sudden for getting mad at Jordan. How could I possibly blame him when after the conversation with Mr. Emerson, it was me they wanted all along, for all or nothing. It could have been my fault just as much as his. I waddle over to him on sore ankles and sit beside him, placing my hands on my stomach. Head in his hands, I let out a sigh as I ruffle his hair like I did when he would come home from a football game defeated. Jordan, I whisper, I'm just glad to see you're okay. He peeks a glance at me through his fingers. I'm sorry, Brooke. If I had listened to you. I cut him off. Don't say that. You tried to help Dad. That's more than I could have done. Jordan seems like he wants to protest, but luckily he doesn't. How's Ma? I bite my lip. I haven't seen her since I left for New York. Jordan's head whips to me. Then where have you been all this time? He asks. Because first things first, when I get out of here, I'm going to whip the guy's ass who got you pregnant. Seeing Jordan being all protective brother is cute. but I don't think he would go far trying to throw a punch Grant's way. He would probably stop to ask questions first on shadow werewolves before anything else. He enjoyed academics better than the physical. I would like to see you try. I chuckle sadly, thinking of Grant's face and his pale green eyes. I wonder what's happened now. Does he know what happened to Raina? To me. Brooke. Jordan's voice me out of my thoughts, and he is looking down at my hand, which is shaking uncontrollably. What happened? And I tell him the story from when I tried to sneak in here to break him out all the way through to the terrible conversation I had not long ago with Mr. Emerson. And afterwards he looks shocked into silence. He gets up from the bed, and I look down to my hand in my lap, the other rubbing my belly, where my daughter is kicking away. Jordan starts facing the room. This isn't good, Brooke. I give him a flat look. Way to state the obvious. He stops. No, if this guy, Grant, is planning on destroying. Keep your voice down. I hiss. Scared that someone is going to overhear us, and the last thing I want to do is reveal a plan like this, even though I have no idea when it's going to happen. Jordan rolls his eyes and lowers his voice to a whisper. You really think he has a chance? Werewolves are stronger in the forest. Tracking and hunting. How could they bring down a place like this? Man-made and concrete. Jordan does have a point, but I just shake my head. I don't know. But Grant has a plan. I have to believe it will work. Jordan sighs. Brooke, you can't get your hopes up. I snap. I have to hope. I have to hope that it works so they don't take my daughter away. My voice cracks in a sob that's brewing as I cover my mouth in hope of containing it. Hey, Jordan comes to sit next to me, wrapping an arm around my shoulders. I didn't mean it. I'm just agitated. I haven't shifted in a while, and it's making me all jittery. I manage a slow nod in response, calming myself down again. It's a girl, Jordan asks, pointing down to my stomach. Yeah. Can she call me Uncle Jordy? He asks with a grin, and I chuckle at the name. I used to call him Jordy when I was younger. When he got older, though, he wanted me to stop. Sure. I smile. Does Ma know you're pregnant? Jordan asks, and when I shake my head, he lets out a low whistle. I don't know who's going to be in more trouble, you or me. I playfully bump his shoulder and we laugh, although it dies down pretty quickly as the room around us shows us our reality. We have no control of our futures anymore, nor do I have any control now for my daughter's life. When I eventually fell asleep, I wake up to a silly hope I would be in bed back in the pack house, with Grant getting up early to make me breakfast. But I wake up to gray walls and a sore back. The screeching of the door being opened makes me turn my head to see two figures waiting at the entrance. I start to get up and sit on the side of the bed as Jordan leaps out of his, standing directly in front of me. Although I see the familiar face of Drive, the, as now known as Ally, Abby and Annie's older sister. She was the reason I got out, and I feel bad that she went to the effort to get me out only to be sitting here right now. She shows nothing, though, as she calmly approaches. The security guards look ready to get Jordan out of the way if needed. It's okay, I whisper to Jordan, who turns to me. I give my best reassuring smile in the situation and step around him. She smiles at me, and I notice the pity when others would see reassurance. Brooke, it's good to see you again. We're just going to do some health checks on you and the baby. Nothing to be worried about. I just give a nod before the security guards assign themselves beside me and we walk out of the room. I turn back to Jordan, looking like he wants to follow, but the door is slammed shut. As usual in this place, I have no idea where I am being escorted to. But a few corridors later, we reach a room. It's different to the office I remember being in 8 months ago. This looks to be like an obstetrician's office. On the right is a desk, to the left is a leather, padded bed. And what is me halting at the door is the gynecologist chair right in front. The security guards can probably smell my fear and hold on to my forearms so I can't run away. Ally must notice my dread as she speaks up. Nothing of that nature today, Brooke, Mr. Emerson wanted to do a paternity test just to look at the baby's DNA, but I explained the risks of miscarriage or triggering early labor. We're just going to do the normal checks and ultrasound. I visibly relax and the security guards let go. They leave the room before locking the door. After that, it almost feels like a normal doctor's appointment as she takes my weight and blood pressure. Afterwards, she instructs me to lie down on the leather, padded bed in the corner. I do so as she wheels over as I recognize an ultrasound machine. So do you know if you're having a boy or girl? Ally smiles, trying to make me feel comfortable in my situation, even though I know she is in what could be described as hell too. I find it hard to show any emotion but fear. Girl, I whisper as she rolls up my shirt to show my stomach before squirting some blue gel on it. A girl. We will just see how she is doing, Ally says as she rolls around the wand on my stretched skin. She looks at the monitor and smiles when my little girl comes into view. I notice how she has gotten bigger. So far so good. Chest earned to the right position. Her head downward. A good sign she is ready to be born a month. Terror runs down my spine when she says that. I'm a ticking time bomb, and when this baby comes out I have this fear it's game over for me. Ally wipes the gel off my stomach and I roll my shirt back down. What is going to happen in a month? I ask the dreaded question. Ally stops backing away the ultrasound machine to look at me. She sighs about to talk, but the door to the room is opened. The last person I ever wanted to see again appears through the door. Mr. Emerson smiles as if he were Father Christmas. The only difference is there is evil lurking behind the mask he puts up and the black suit and tie he wears today. Derive. Ridley, I just came to check in with you for Brooke's progress. But I see I caught you in the middle of your work. Ally puts on a smile and shakes her head. Just finished. Brooke and the baby are doing fine, Mr. Emerson's attention goes to me. A smile on his lips. He looks at me for a few seconds and I tear my eyes away to look at the ground. Have you worked out the due date? He asks. Yes, last time Brooke was here we worked out it was February the 26th. That's when the baby will be at full term, Ally answers, sounding curious herself on why he would want to know the information. Good. I expect you to book Theater 1 to perform a C-section on that date to avoid any complications. My head whips quicker than lightning to look at Mr. Emerson. Then my eyes go to Ally's, pleading for her to say something. To stop it, Mr. Emerson, as a C-section is the less stressful for the baby and mother. I do believe Brooke should have a choice. Ally begins to inform him, but he cuts her off with the wave of his hand. I agree. If the baby is to arrive earlier than that date. Brooke, his gaze goes to me. You can make a decision on your birth plans. The baby is being born by February 26th whether you like it or not. It will have less risks that way. And with that said, I ignore his goodbyes and the shutting door. I have exactly 1 month to get out of here. But that's not even guaranteed because the baby can come anytime she likes. Chapter 44. Hope seems to be a stupid thing. Jordan was right. 1 whole month ago when he said not to get my hopes up. No one has come for me. Grant's plan was probably never going to work. I have been terrified this past 4 weeks. Every little ache or pain I think is a contraction. And it's gotten to the point where every time I go to the toilet I make sure my waters haven't broken. No matter how uncomfortable I am with my big belly, I have done everything possible to keep this baby in. As if the time would help for the inevitable. But today it did come. I cowled and ate breakfast this morning. I knew what day it was and I knew if I had some food it would just come back up again. My brain was buzzing, with ideas of escape. Of stealing a gun and shooting my way out of here. All things that would be too dangerous and impossible for my pregnant state. Part of me thought I would be excited for this day, of seeing my daughter for the first time. But it was replaced by the fear that they were going to take her, and I would never see her face. What seemed like midday, I was sitting on the edge of my bed. Jordan next to me holding my hand as I bounced my leg up and down. The door creaked before opening, and there stood 2 security guards. And for people dressed in green hospital scrubs with a gurney. Panic seized my heart and my hand held on tighter to Jordan's as they slowly entered the room. And to my shock, Jordan growled in warning which had them flinching back. Before I realized anything, he sprung forward, knocking back one of the security guards, taking him by surprise. But he didn't stand a chance as they had cleverly weakened him all these months with not much food and no sunlight. The other security guard was holding a gun to him. Jordan. I scream and he looked in time to see the gun. But instead the security guard uses the other end of it to knock him in the head. The people in the scrubs start coming into the room and all I can do is back away. "Brooke," Jordan yells, causing me to look at him as he is being held back by the security guard as the other is punching him in the stomach to be quiet. "Jordan, stop. Let me go." I scream as the people in scrubs seize me, roughly grabbing onto my arms and leading me out of the room. He keeps yelling my name as I try to fight off the 4 people gripping me, trying to get me to lie down on the gurney. I'm going into hysterics as they force my back down onto the hard surface. Some grab my legs, and I haven't got the strength to kick them away. "Please just stop." I scream at them as I feel something being wrapped around my wrist. I look down through tears-soaked lashes to my wrists being cuffed in leather, and I feel the same down to my ankles. Even though I know it's hopeless, I pull against the restraints. Please don't do this." I sob at them as they start to will me away. All I see is the lights hanging from the ceiling and the person with a surgeon mask looking ahead. I cry for the 5-minute journey I am taken on through the premises. My eyesight is bubbled with tears as we seem to be slowing down. I move my head to see we are going through a doorway. Finally, I stop moving and look around to the bustling surgeons in the room, preparing needles and unfolding sheets. I struggle against the leather cuffs again as I see someone approaching me in the midst as the people and equipment in here. I recognize her light blue eyes. Instantly, I can't see the rest of her face as it is covered by a surgeon's mask, although I can still tell she is smiling. "Brooke, you have to stop struggling." Ally reaches to hold my hand. "We planned to have you awake during the procedure, but you are going to have to be cooperative when we administer the epidural." She lets go of my hand and I find something made of cold metal still in it. I peek down to see I am holding the handle of a very sharp scalpel. "Do you think you can do that?" I know what she is really asking and I mange a slow nod of my head. She fakes another smile before she walks away out of view. Preparations continue to be made as I shift the scalpel in my hand, forcing the edge on the leather and slowly cut away. A minute goes by and very little progress on escape when I notice the room starting to grow quiet until I can only hear my blood beating in my ears. Movement is heard before one deadly growl, followed by screams. My heart is beating so rapidly and my breaths come out labored, my chest heaves up and down. I close my eyes as I hear growls, screams, crashes of metal and machines alike. There's banging on the door, as if someone is trying to get out, but a scream and a growl later the room goes quiet again. I blink my terrified eyes open to look at the ceiling. Like a horror movie, I feel my head slowly turning to look at the remains of what I heard. Splatters of blood have stained the walls already. And after that sigh time, eat the electric blue eyes of a white wolf. Abby is a white wolf. It's only logical for her older sister to be one. Ally, I whisper, and the white wolf in front of me gives a short nod of her head. She then gestures to my hand holding the scalpel. I drop it and she snarls her teeth before chewing on the leather, ripping it away. My hand is free and I reach over my mountain of a stomach, get to the other wrist restraint and unbuckle it while Abby works on the ones on my ankles. Once free, with the help of Ally's large head, I manage to sit up and swing my legs over the gurney. "Please tell me this wasn't a last-minute plan," I ask. Ally just huffs as if insulted and goes to the entrance, waiting as she presses her ear to the door. I look down and swallow a gulp as I see the knocked out and mostly bloody bodies at my feet. Should I feel bad for these people who were about to force me into a C-section? Did they have a choice? Or after Ally having to work for them for such a long time, did this make the straw that broke the camel's back? But I am sucked out of my thoughts as a commotion happens outside. Guns and bullets blaze as a few grunts and groans later silence again. Ally steps back as the door strains open, and in that doorway stands a black suited-up Abby, and a hand causally resting on her hip. Completely lost for words, I watch her take a step into the room, looking around the area and cringing at the bodies strewn across the floor. "Nice work, sis." She smiles down to the white wolf that huffs again and walks past her out the door and back into the corridors. "Who's ever asked him saving you better hurry the hell up," Abby exclaims with a smirk on her lips, repeating the same first thing she ever said to me when she busted me out of here the first time around. Brooke, sorry, just having DJ vu. I joke, and she smiles. Good to know you haven't lost your wit. But I mean it. You better hurry up, she says and makes a quickening gesture with her hand. I walk to the door, avoiding the people beneath my feet, and step out of a room on my own free will for the first time in a month. I am greeted with the sight of a few limp security guards and ally waiting patiently. So what exactly is the plan? We start walking down the corridor. Well, Abby says, seeming like she is trying to find the right words. The short answer is the three of us are getting you out of here while the rest of us burn this place to the ground. I count the people around us. The three of you. All clear. I hear a voice and stop dead in my tracks as Raina appears around the corner. To see Daryl walking is truly a surprise. Relief seems to flood Raina as she takes in my presence. Brooke, good to see you. I can't believe it. I managed to get out and Raina sadly smiles at me. About to say more but was cut off. Yes, happy reunion, fun time later, Abby says as she looks down the two-way exit corridor. We have to get to the exit now. More than happy to oblige. I halt in my steps. I need to get my brother. Abby looks about ready to strangle me. Brooke, we need to get going now. Abby, I left my brother here once, I am not doing it again. I hiss and my stubbornness finally wins as she sighs. She turns to her sister. The White Wolf. Do you know the way? Ally nods and we head to the left and follow her through the tangled corridors until we reach a familiar door. Abby opens it by lifting the lock handle and the door creaks open. I spot Jordan first. Hunched over, head in hands sitting on the edge of the bed. Jordan, I exclaim, and his head whips up in an instant. Getting up from the bed as I usher him out. What, who, he stumbles out, but I quiet him. Not the best time to explain. I say, turning to the others. What now? There's a secret exit that leads from the car park downstairs. If the plan has worked, the guards should have been taken care of. Ronnie says, and I want to groan for the amount of stairs I am going to have to walk. Don't worry, Brooke. There's an elevator. Abby winks and we get going. Everyone doing their long hurried strides and me waddling like an obese penguin. The day when I can get my stride back will be a good day. Ally leads us through a few more corridors, having to stop once for a pack of guards running. We make it to the elevator, the silver box being bigger than expected, as it is able to hold 3 people, 1 werewolf and a pregnant lady. Abby presses down and we descend to the car park level, the light blinking overhead every time we press a level, although I notice we stop when the light flashes to the first floor. The door slides open and there stand 8 ready and armed security guards waiting to take the lift. It's almost comical the way both sides are shocked into silence. However, when a guard flinches, that's all it takes for Ally to pounce on them. Raina follows pursuit as Abby turns to Jordan and me. There's a car down there. You know how to drive, kid. Abby asks Jordan, who seems like he wants to protest to the name, but knows better. He nods. Good. Get in and don't look back. With that, Abby hits the button inside to go down before stepping out of the chaotic fight. The door slides close and the silence follows. I feel the elevator moving again, and the next thing the door slides open to an empty car park. Come on. Jordan leads the way out, doing a small jog to go see if he can find the car. I start walking to catch up, but a pain like none other stops me. Shit, I whisper out in agony as I lean on a concrete pillar for support, cupping my belly where the pain is centering. I breathe out slowly to try and get through the discomfort. Brooke, the car is over. Brooke. Jordan comes back, putting a hand on my shoulder. Something's wrong, Jordan, I say, lifting my head to look at him. In a few seconds his eyes mirror my own panic. I had known what a Braxton Hicks contraction was, but this was way different. And even if today I didn't want my little girl coming into this world, she wanted to anyway. Chapter 45. Between my first contractions, Jordan helps me into the passenger seat of the black SUV and scrambles around to the driver's side, finding the keys in the glove compartment, and turns on the car. My next contraction hits as we make it out of the car park. Not as bad, but since they're far apart and short, it means I still got time. And maybe that graphic video Annie showed me actually did help. We pull out to the busy street of New York. We get stuck in traffic, but it gives Jordan time to adjust his eyes to the bright sun of midday that he hasn't seen in months. Just drive out of the city and head for Minnie's car park, I say, and Jordan nods, giving me worried-filled eyes. You know, he thinks out loud. I thought the whole thing was that babies never come on their due dates. Well, I guess my daughter likes to be different. I state just as a contraction hits me, and I lean against the dashboard, bracing myself against the pain. And that's how it is for the next hour. Contraction. Break, and contraction. Over and over again, the pressure becomes slightly stronger each time. I can tell my brother is trying to stay calm for me, but as more times passes, uncertainty grows. Finally, I get to the point where I can't take it anymore. The motion of the car is making me nauseous. Jordan, pull over. I wince as another contraction hits me. Brooke, I'm in the middle of a freeway here. Jordan tries to explain, but I am not having any of that. Pull over. I practically scream, and it's 2 seconds later I am hearing the blinker interacting. We are pulling over. The car comes to a steady stop, and when Jordan cranks the handbrake, I get out of the car. Ignoring his protest, I walk around to be on the other side of the car, away from the zooming vehicles on the freeway. It feels good to get fresh air, and I can breathe properly again. I take in some much-needed big breaths whilst leaning on the car. Jordan is beside me and intends leaving his car door open. Brooke, we can't stop here. The car motion is making me sick, I say, wiping the sweat off my forehead. Jordan tries to be understanding, but his sigh is slightly annoyed. We can't stay here. We have to go. Go where? I shriek, turning to look him in the eye. A hospital. I don't trust those places enough to know that S.E.R.O aren't going to hack into their systems and find us. You're not having the baby on the side of a road, Jordan argues. If I remember correctly, you got an in biology. I say, as I feel the slight creep up of a contraction, because I dissected a frog, not deliver a baby. Jordan says back a little harsher than intended, before softening. Brooke, I know it makes you sick, but it's only an hour-and-a-half drive to the pack house. I shake my head right as the contraction hits me. I roll over to lean on the car with my forearm, the other hand cupping my belly as if to help relieve the pressure. I hiss out in a long breath like the instructional video said. Although I find it not making a difference. I peek an eye to see my brother ready to argue again, but a ringing cell-phone silences it. We both look at each other in confusion, wondering if we have stated to imagine things, but Jordan's head looks to the glove compartment in the car. He reaches in, half disappearing for a second, and pulls out a mobile phone. He looks at the screen before answering. Hello. Jordan puts the phone outwards and switching it to speakerphone so we can both hear it. Can you please tell me why you have pulled over in the middle of the freeway? I recognize Abby's voice. I am assuming this cell phone also has a tracker on it. Jordan nervously looks to me. Am I gone into labor? I get out bluntly, and there is silence on the phone before a few recognizable curse words. I hear a commotion on the other line pass the phone to me. I hear a female voice say before a few static noises. Brooke. Yeah. This is Ally. Do you know how far apart you contractions have been? She asks. Around every 15 minutes or so. I reply, not really keeping track of the past couple hours. It sounds like you still in the early stages. Just stay tight, okay? I don't think riding to the pack house is wise, as the car ride could speed up the labor processes, and we're not risking you having the baby in the car. We're not far away. Just stay put. Ally reassures. Okay, just please hurry. I whisper at the end, and with one final goodbye they hang up the phone. As the time passes, Jordan opens the car windows and the doors facing opposite the freeway to circulate air into the car as I lay on my side on the back seat. I breathe through every contraction, my breath becoming more labored as the contraction progresses. My knuckles turn white as I hold onto Jordan's hand across the middle section cup holders as he sits in the front seat. I can tell my deathly hold on his hand hurts, but he doesn't say anything. Another reason I love him. You know, I never thought you'd be a person to have kids, Jordan states between a contraction. I peek my eyes open to look at him. Really? You always seemed more of the lone wolf type, he says, and I mange a small smile at that. Am no wolf, Jordan. I correct. But you way stronger than one, he says, and I look him in the eye to see him genuinely mean it. But the moment is over as his eyes dart up to look through the back window. They're here. I sigh in relief as I adjust myself on the seat, ready for some help. Who's the scary-looking guy in the front? Jordan sounds unsure. In my confusion and slight terror of the description, I manage to lift myself up onto my hands and look through the back window myself. The sight alone makes my heart flip, and it allows me to gain some energy as I do an awake slid to get out of the car. Grant hurriedly gets out of the front seat. Abby, Raina, and Ally following behind. A small whimper of joy escapes me as Grant spots me. I had missed him so much I could be floating on cloud 9 right now. He races to me, not giving it a second thought as his arms wrap around me, my arms looping around him as I nuzzle into his neck. Tears freely fall from my eyes, as this moment seems too good to be true from the past month I have experienced. You're okay, he whispers, more for himself than for anyone else. He pulls away to give me a kiss. However, it's cut short as a contraction hits me. Crap. I hiss as I hunch over, grabbing onto his forearms with my fingernails digging into his skin. Ally, Grant exclaims as he stands there supporting my weight as the pain in my lower abdomen continues. I feel someone approach me, waiting until the pain passes before they put a hand on my shoulder, slowly easing me to stand straight again. Brooke. The calm voice of Ally seems to decrease my nerves. Have the contractions progressed? She starts to rub my lower back, which seems to ease away the pain, if only slightly. I shake my head in response. No, not really. They're still pretty far apart. We have to take her to the pack house, Grant says, the voice that is meant to spell out no room for argument. It's too far, Grant. We risk delivering the baby in the back of the car. Ally explains, and I can tell by Grant's arms tensing he doesn't like that idea. Brooke, I know the car motion makes you sick, but we need to drive to the nearest safe house. It's only a 15-minute drive. Do you think you can handle it? I manage an odd in response, not liking the idea of having a baby on the side of a road while traveling on one. Grant puts an arm around my waist and starts leading me to the car Jordan and I traveled in. We'll follow behind. Abby says as her and Raina go to the car they traveled in as Ally and Jordan follow us. Jordan ends up driving and Ally sits in the front of the car leading the way. In the back, Grant sits on the left with my head in his lap, and my legs stretched over the seats. It helped better with the pain. As I look up at Grant, I finally see him. The cut marks over his eyebrow, the blood starting to dry. His skin is mucked with blood, and it forms the question in my head. What happened? With S.E.R.O, I ask, and Grant looks down to me, tucking the loose, sweaty strands of hair behind my ears. It's over, Brooke, he whispers, leaning down to kiss my cheek. They're never going to bother us again. Shocked into how that's possible, I can't comprehend how that statement can be true. A place like that seemed unbreakable. But what about Mr. McCoy and Mr. Emerson? I get out in a rush. By the angry face Grant pulls, I can tell he recognizes the names. He grits his teeth. I ripped their fucking heads off. Chapter 46. I only experienced the contractions in the car ride to the familiar safe house I was taken to after being rescued the first time from S.E.R.O. It somehow seems fitting that my life is coming back around full circle. Grant helps me out of the car, supporting me as we get to the main bedroom, and I waste no time in lying down again. I have a constant ache in my back that I know won't go away. Have you called Drive? Norton, Grant asked as he sits beside me on the bed, and he takes me hand. Grateful. I squeeze it. Yes, after we called Brooke. He should arrive here in less than 3 hours. I'd asked him to bring supplies. Allied explains. Will he be here in time? I ask. It depends how quick this baby wants to come. It's going to be a waiting game, I'm afraid. But first, let's check your progress so far. Do you mind rolling over for me? Brooke. I slowly roll over until I'm on my back. I don't enjoy it as most of the pressure is centered there. Ally rolls up my shirt and starts compressing my belly. It's slightly uncomfortable as she presses and as if trying to feel the baby. Just as she is about done, the worst contraction yet takes a hold and I tense up, bracing against it. Brooke, you have to relax. You tensing up is only going to slow things down. The good news is the baby is in the right position, but she isn't going to come any quicker if you brace against the contractions. You have to breathe through them. I try and do so, but it becomes tiring. I want to resort back to my old method. The pain slowly ebbs away and I sink back into the bed, my body going limp again. I'm going to have to do an internal examination now, Ally says hesitantly, and I don't understand what she is talking about for a few seconds. But when it registers, I groan, helping her to get me in position for her to inspect the area in which the baby will hopefully be popping out soon. She drapes a sheet over my bent knees after she comes back from the ensuite bathroom from washing her hands. It's unpleasant as she inspects me, but a minute later she pulls away. Your about 3 to 4 centimeters dilated, and your waters haven't broken yet. You say that as it's a bad thing. I groan and Ally sighs. Well, you have 6 more centimeters to go before you can start pushing and your water will hopefully break on its own. I suggest you either try and get some rest or relax in the bathroom. Normally first-time labors are longer, but as I said, it's a waiting game. I'll run you a bath, Grant says, kissing me on the forehead before letting go of my hand and entering the ensuite bathroom. I give Ally my thanks. Don't mention it. I'll come and check on you every hour or so. Just call if you need me. She smiles, gently squeezing me knee before disappearing out the door. I lie there and listen to the water running, the sound making a hollow echo. I roll back onto my side, the sheet covering my half-naked body. Having to give birth in a house without much medical supplies scares me. I know I am in good hands, and some women do home births, but I know deep down this moment in my life I was dreading. And I sadly think to myself that either being in a hospital, the pack house, or dare I say it, S.E.R. is going to make a difference. I pull away from my miserable thoughts as I hear Grant coming back into the bedroom. He kneels down to be at a level with me, and the way he smiles give me hope, comfort, and determination to push away the fears. How you doing? Grant asks, reaching out to push away a stray strand of hair on my forehead. I give him a flat look and he bites back a chuckle. I know, stupid question. I don't have time to laugh as another contraction hits me and I close my eyes as if to block out the pain. Breath. Brooke. Grant urges and I listen to his words, taking in slow, steady breaths. Although exhausting, it helps me focus on anything but the pain in my lower abdomen regions. Finally it subsides and I reopen my eyes to gaze into pale green, worrisome ones. I manage a small smile on my lips. I think that bath might help, I state. He nods as he gets up from his crouch and helps me from the bed. Walking into the bathroom, the lights are brightened. I realize that the night is slowly descending. The bath is about half full and I notice the foamy bubbles floating and growing on the surface of the water. You went the extra mile. I smirk. Grant shrugs. Thought it might help relax you. It's lavender scented. Nice touch. I tease and he rolls his eyes. I didn't realize that all safe houses came with luxury items. Grant chuckles. No, they don't. The lady that lives here is an old family friend. She likes to travel a lot. I nod. The bath filling up to the point where it's now tempting to get in. And so I find a hair tie in one of the cupboards and put my hair in a high bun so it doesn't get wet. Taking off the rest of my clothes, which consists of a big baggy shirt and brown underwear. With the help of Grant, I ease into the tub. The water is the perfect heat as I nestle in. I forgot for a second my whole situation and relax, as I smell scented bubbles. Is that better? I peek my eye open to see Grant watching me, sitting on the toilet with the lid down. I nod my head and enjoy the peace, but I can't get my eyes off the state of Grant. Is there a washcloth or something? I ask and Grant nods, looking for one in the cupboards. He finds a light yellow cloth and walks over to hand it to me. He is about to walk back to sit down, but I grab his hand. He seems confused, but my eyes go down to the ground for him to crouch. He does so, and once at eye level I soak the washcloth before reaching out and dabbing the grime on his face. Careful not to touch the cut across his eyebrow. Halfway through, Grant gently grabs my hand, stopping me. It's fine, Brooke. It will heal. I bite my lip, pulling away. What happened? I ask again, and Grant sighs, resting his hand on the edge of the tub. I will tell you, but not right now. Let's just focus on one thing at a time, he says, giving me a smile to indicate he has every intention to tell me what happened. I nod, knowing he is right for now, and I close my eyes again and try to relax. The water event fully got cold, and I got out of the tub experiencing stronger contractions than before. Luckily, outside Abby, Raina and Jordan managed to find me a comfortable, oversized shirt to wear. Yet the pain continued, and I tried everything to help relieve it, pacing up and down, standing and squatting at one stage, if I remember correctly. But in the end I got so tired I decided lying on the bed was the most comfortable. I was having a contraction while Grant was rubbing my back and whispering words of encouragement when Ally came in, and I was glad to see Drive. Norton entered the room with a briefcase-looking bag in his hand. How are you going, Brooke? Drive? Norton asks with that cheerful smile. It seems that all doctors were to encourage their patients. Please tell me you have pain relief in there, I say, before groaning again as another contraction hits me. They're not that far apart now, Drive. Norton holds back a chuckle as he looks to Ally. Well, I've even told you're about 8 centimeters. It's a bit late now to administer anything, but you should be proud. You've gone this far without it. Yay for me. Sarcasm oozes from my voice. That was about an hour ago. They'll just see if you've progressed, Ally says, and I roll over so she can check. She sits on the edge of the bed as she does so. Right as another contraction hits, I get this really strong urge to push back. It feels like I have to push. I grit out, and Ally smiles at me. Good, because you 10 centimeters. Time to start pushing. Ally then turns back to Drive. Norton, do you mind getting things prepared? Not at all, Drive, Norton says, before leaving the room. Ally's attention turns back to me. Okay, Brooke. Next contraction, I want you to push as long as you can for me. Okay. I nod, and it's not long until I have another contraction and am bearing down. I didn't realize that I was going to be pushing for the next hour. Listening to every honest words of encouragement, and Grant patted my sweaty face with a cool cloth and Drive. Norton was preparing for the baby's arrival, but after so long, it became too much. I throw my head back on the pillow, panting and trying to catch my breath. I break down. All the stress building up from today has led to this. I can't do this anymore, I exclaim in a sob. It's nearly midnight now, and am so tired my bones ache. Well, everything aches. Brooke, you have to keep pushing, Ally says, looking over my bent knees to see my face. I shake my head. I can't. Yes, you can, Brooke. Chef's nearly here. Grant urges me on. I look up to him, and he's giving me those eyes that mean no room for argument. That's Grant's way of saying he believes me, although a little misguiding. It helps. Grant's right. I can see her head, and with a few more pushes, she'll be here. Ally informs me, and I close my eyes for a second. Brooke Rhodes never backs down from a challenge, and I have to remind myself after a hectic year I was going to give up at the end. Opening my eyes, I bite my lip and nod down to Ally, who smiles. Okay, Brooke, next contraction, big push. I feel Grant give my hand a reassuring squeeze, but seconds later, when I feel a contraction, it's the other way around, as I seem to be crushing his hand as I push. He grits his teeth through it and doesn't say anything. Good, Brooke. Just one small push and the head will be out. And I did as she said and gasped at the awful pressure between my legs. I also cursed whoever it was that decided a baby should be delivered this way. One last big push. Everything you've got. And with that big push, one burning pressure-filled explosion of pain happened before relief snapped through my body as quick as a click of the fingers. I looked down between my legs to see Abby holding a baby covered in blood and goop of some sort. And with one little hit on the back, the baby was crying. And then I was crying because the baby she was holding was my baby. My daughter. Ally was smiling, brightly looking at me before Grant. Do you want to cut the cord? After the question being met with silence, I look over to Grant. Hes gone into some state of shock. I can't help but smile and shake his shoulder. He looks down to me. With my watery smile, I nod to Ally. Do it. He seems to snap out of his trance and drive. Norton brings a pair of medical scissors over and Ally instructs where to cut. With that, Grant smiles and we watch his drive. Norton takes the baby in a couple towels and cleans her up. I watch fascinated as she keeps crying as drive. Norton comes to the side of the bed. I instinctively reach out as he passes my daughter to me and I make sure to cradle her little head, and from then I think I found it near impossible to take my eyes off her. She reminds me of myself with the same nose and lips, although she has the dark hair like Grant. Her little face is so precious, and I don't know how much time I spent studying it to notice Grant's hands softly resting on the side of her head, his thumb softly brushing her forehead. I look to him wearing the softest smile I have ever seen him wear as he, like myself, looks at our little girl. He tears his gaze away to look at me, and we smile at each other before he bends down to give me a lasting kiss on the lips. Thank you, he whispers quietly to me, before tilting his head to kiss our daughter's forehead.